Welcome back to the second chapter of Katie and Lorenzo's dangerous love story, where trust becomes a weapon and every choice could be fatal. If you haven't experienced episode 1 yet, or need to refresh your memory, you'll find the link waiting for you in the description below. Get comfortable, turn down the lights, and prepare yourself. We're about to enter a world where a crime lord's heart might be his most dangerous vulnerability, and where one woman's trust is about to be shattered. Let's begin. The mountain road was silent except for the wind rushing through the trees. Lorenzo stood frozen, staring at the man illuminated by headlights 50 meters away. Katie clutched his arm, feeling his entire body coiled with tension. "Lorenzo, who is that?" The man took another step forward, hands raised in mock surrender. He was tall, lean, with sharp features and a scar running down the left side of his face. His smile was cold. "It's been 3 years, Lorenzo," the man called out in accented English. "You look well. Prison clearly didn't suit me as much as freedom suits you." Min-jae cursed under his breath from the front seat. "That's impossible. Jung-ho died in the—" "I didn't die," the man, Jung-ho, interrupted, his voice carrying easily across the distance. "You just wanted to believe I did." Lorenzo finally spoke, his voice low and deadly. "Get back in the car, Katie." "What? No, Now." The command in his voice left no room for argument. Katie reluctantly slid back into the SUV, but kept the door open, watching. Lorenzo stepped forward, putting himself between the vehicles and Jung-ho's armed men. "You have 3 seconds to tell me why I shouldn't kill you right here." Jung-ho laughed. "Because I'm not here to fight you, brother." The word brother hit like a physical blow. Katie's eyes widened. "Brother?" Lorenzo's hands clenched into fists. "You lost that right when you tried to kill our father and frame me for it." "Father was weak," Jung-ho said dismissively. "He was going to hand everything to you. The foreigner's son. The half-breed who didn't even grow up in Seoul." He spat on the ground. "I did what had to be done." "You murdered 12 people to cover your tracks," Lorenzo said coldly. "Including father's driver, his secretary, people who had families, casualties of war." Jung-ho shrugged. "But I'm not here to debate the past. I'm here because we have a common enemy now. We have nothing in common." Jung-ho's smile widened. "Don't we? Hwang Do-sik has been making moves against both of us. He thinks he can absorb our territories while we fight each other. But if we work together—" "No." Lorenzo's voice was final. Jung-ho's expression darkened. "You're making a mistake." "The only mistake I made was not confirming your death 3 years ago," Lorenzo said. "I won't make that mistake twice." Jung-ho's eyes shifted to the SUV, where Katie sat watching. His smile returned, predatory and knowing. "Ah, so the rumors are true. Kong Lorenzo Key finally has a weakness." He tilted his head. "Pretty thing. American, I hear." "How unexpected." Lorenzo moved so fast that his guards barely had time to react. He closed the distance between himself and Jung-ho in seconds, grabbing him by the collar and pressing a gun under his chin. "You don't look at her," Lorenzo said, voice barely above a whisper. "You don't think about her. You don't say her name. Do you understand?" Jung-ho's men raised their weapons, but Jung-ho held up a hand, stopping them. He met Lorenzo's eyes, unfazed by the gun. "I understand perfectly," Jung-ho said softly. "You've finally found something worth protecting more than your empire. That makes you vulnerable, little brother." Lorenzo pressed the gun harder. "Or it makes me more dangerous than you've ever seen." For a moment they stood frozen. 2 men locked in a battle of wills, surrounded by armed guards and the weight of old betrayals. Then Jung-ho smiled again. "We'll see." Lorenzo released him with a shove and stepped back. "Leave. Now. And if I see you anywhere near her, you'll kill me." "Yes, I know the speech." Jung-ho adjusted his collar. "But answer me this, Lorenzo. If Do-sik comes for her, and he will, can you really protect her alone? Or will your pride kill her before your enemies do?" Lorenzo raised his gun, aiming directly at Jung-ho's head. Jung-ho raised his hands and backed away slowly. "Think about it. When you're ready to be smart instead of emotional, you know how to find me." He retreated to his vehicles. Doors slammed. Engines roared. Within seconds, the convoy was gone, taillights disappearing into the darkness. Katie stumbled out of the SUV. "Lorenzo." He turned to her, and for the first time since she'd met him, she saw something that looked like fear in his eyes. Not fear of Jung-ho. Fear of what Jung-ho represented. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. He lowered the gun slowly, exhaling. "No." but we need to keep moving. Min-jae approached cautiously. Boss, we should change routes. If Young-ho knew we'd be here. He didn't know, Lorenzo interrupted. He was hunting, following patterns. If he knew our exact location, he wouldn't have stopped to talk. He would have attacked. Katie wrapped her arms around herself. He called you brother. Lorenzo's jaw tightened. Half-brother. Same father, different mothers. He's been trying to take control of the family since I was 16. And you thought he was dead. I thought I'd made sure he was. Lorenzo holstered his weapon. I was wrong. He looked at Katie for a long moment, something unreadable in his expression. Then he gestured to the SUV. We need to go. Now. Before 6 people realize Young-ho drew us out into the open. The estate appeared suddenly, hidden behind a tall gate and surrounded by dense forest. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern security. Cameras, reinforced doors, motion sensors cleverly disguised as garden lights. Katie stepped out of the SUV and looked around slowly. A koi pond reflected the moonlight. Stone pathways led to a main house with sweeping rooflines and wooden beams. Despite the security measures, it felt peaceful. Human. This is yours, she asked. It belongs to a company that belongs to a company that belongs to me, Lorenzo said. On paper, it looks boring. That's the point. Inside, the house was warm and simple. Wooden floors. Soft lighting. A normal kitchen with normal appliances. A lived-in sofa in the main room. There were security cameras and reinforced doors, but it still felt more like a home than the tower in Seoul. Katie looked around slowly. I like this better. Because it doesn't scream my name? Lorenzo asked. Because it doesn't scream anything, she said. It feels real. Less like a museum. He watched her for a moment, something soft flickering in his expression. Good. That means you'll be able to breathe here. Min-jae brought in bags and handed Lorenzo a folder. We've limited the list of people who know about this location. Me, your sister Isabella, Marco, and Luis. That's it. No one else gets the address unless you approve. Lorenzo took the folder. Good. Katie eyed Min-jae cautiously. So you know where I sleep now too? Min-jae gave a brief smile. I knew that before you knew my name, Miss Williams. She wasn't sure if that was comforting or disturbing. Lorenzo showed Katie to her room. It had a double bed, a dresser, and a small desk by the window. The view showed trees and a gravel driveway winding through the forest. It's simple, he said. But safe. I like simple, she replied. There was a brief silence, comfortable, but charged with unspoken things. If you need anything, he said, tell me. You mean tell you, or tell your security? He hesitated. Tell me first. Something soft flickered in her chest. I will. The first day at the estate was strange. Katie helped in the kitchen because she refused to sit and do nothing while men walked around outside with earpieces and weapons. She chopped vegetables, washed dishes, tried to ignore the fact that this was now her life. At one point, Lorenzo walked in and stopped when he saw her at the stove. You cook? He asked. She lifted a pan lid. I cook better than I swim with strangers. A laugh escaped him before he could stop it, short, low, real. Katie smiled despite herself. Was that an actual laugh? Don't tell anyone, he said, a hint of warmth in his voice. Later, they ate at a small wooden table in the kitchen. No private chefs. Just basic food and real conversation. You grew up in Oregon? He asked. Small town. Lots of rain. Boring in a safe way. You left because it was boring? I left because I wanted more than the same 2 streets and 1 decent coffee shop, Katie said. She hesitated. And because my dad's job situation got complicated. Lorenzo's expression sharpened. Complicated how? He did accounting for some companies that later turned out to be shady. There were investigations. Lawsuits. We had to move. He lost almost everything. Lorenzo's jaw tightened. Did he know what he was getting into? I don't think so at first, Katie said. Later. I don't know. He never told me the full truth. Does he still work with them? No, Katie said firmly. He's trying to fix his life. Works long hours at some boring firm now. Drinks too much coffee. Worries about money. She paused. That's it. Lorenzo was quiet for a moment, his expression unreadable. Why are you asking? Katie added. Because your last name appeared in some old financial reports, he said carefully. Reports connected to people I already know. Katie's stomach dropped. You think this is about my dad? I think your father worked near people I'm already dealing with, Lorenzo said. That makes you visible to the wrong eyes. Katie stared at the table. I didn't choose any of that. I know. They ate in silence for a few moments. What about you? Katie asked suddenly. Did you choose this world? He thought about it. I chose not to die in it. That's not the same thing. She tilted her head. Min-jae told me you cleaned part of your family's business. No drugs. No trafficking. No kids involved. His eyes sharpened. He talks too much. He's proud of you, Katie said. He thinks you're better than the men who came before you. Lorenzo looked away first. That doesn't erase everything. No, she agreed. But it matters. 3 days passed. Katie found a rhythm at the estate. Mornings, she explored the gardens. Afternoons, she read or worked remotely when her laptop had signal. Evenings, she and Lorenzo ate together, their conversations growing longer, deeper, more honest. She saw him training in the private gym once. Scars on his back, old wounds that told stories he didn't speak aloud. When he caught her watching, he didn't look angry. This world leaves marks, he said simply. She nodded. I'm starting to understand that. Another day, she found him on the covered veranda during a rainstorm, watching water drip from the eaves. Katie stood beside him. Do you ever get tired of it? Always being in control. Yes, he admitted. Then why not walk away? Because the people who depend on me can't. She looked at him, really looked, and saw something she hadn't expected. Loneliness. Responsibility weighing on him like armor he couldn't remove. You're not what I expected, she said softly. What did you expect? Someone colder. More cruel. His mouth curved slightly. I can be. When I need to be. But you're not with me. He turned to face her fully. No, I'm not. The rain fell harder. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Katie, he said quietly. You're the first person who's looked at me without fear or calculation. Maybe because I didn't know who you were first, she said. Maybe, he agreed. Or maybe because you see something no one else does. Her heart skipped. He stepped closer, and the air between them shifted, charged, heavy with something unspoken. Before either of them could move, Min-jae appeared in the doorway. Boss, we need you. There's been a breach attempt on the perimeter. Lorenzo's entire demeanor changed. He turned away from Katie, his expression hardening instantly. Show me. He left without another word. Katie stood on the veranda, heart racing, wondering what would have happened if they hadn't been interrupted. That night, a storm rolled through the mountains. Wind howled around the house. Rain hammered the windows. The trees outside bent and swayed like dancers in the dark. Katie couldn't sleep. She wandered through the quiet house, wrapped in a blanket, until she found Lorenzo in the main room. A fire burned in the stone pit at the center of the space, casting flickering shadows across the walls. He sat on the floor near the fire, arms resting on his knees, staring into the flames. Can't sleep? He asked without looking up. No. Katie sat down beside him, closer than she meant to. The storm's loud. It'll pass. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the rain and the crackling fire. Katie, Lorenzo said finally, if this ever feels like too much, if you want to leave when it's safe, I'll let you go. She turned to look at him. What if I don't want to think about leaving right now? Then what do you want to think about? She swallowed. You. And the fact that I'm very aware of you sitting this close. His gaze locked onto hers. I'm aware of you too. Then stop making all the decisions alone, she whispered. Tell me what you want. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His hand cupped her cheek, thumb brushing her skin. I want you to kiss me, she said. If you want that too. His control slipped. He leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't desperate. It was firm and honest and full of everything they hadn't said aloud. Katie gripped his shirt, pulling him closer. The fire crackled. The storm raged outside. And inside, the world shrank to the space between them. He broke the kiss only long enough to search her eyes. Tell me to stop if this feels wrong. It doesn't, she breathed. He kissed her again, deeper this time. His hands moved to her waist, steady and sure. She felt his heartbeat under her palm, fast and strong. Lorenzo, she murmured against his mouth. I'm not confused. I know where I am and who you are. He rested his forehead against hers. Do you? Yes, she said. You're the man who terrifies me and makes me feel safer at the same time. I don't know what to do with that, but I know I want this. His answer was another kiss. Later, when they moved from the main room to his bedroom, he stayed exactly the same, asking, waiting, giving her space to say no. She didn't. She said yes with her hands, her mouth, her body, her words. Nothing about that night was casual. Nothing about it was a distraction. It was a clear choice on both sides. If you're feeling the intensity between Katie and Lorenzo right now, subscribe so you don't miss episode 3. Trust me, things are about to get dangerous, and you'll want to see what happens next. Drop a comment below. Do you think Lorenzo made the right choice getting close to Katie? Or is he putting her in even more danger? Let me know. Now, let's see what happens the next morning. The next morning, Katie woke in Lorenzo's bed, sunlight filtering through the curtains. She reached out to the empty space beside her. He was gone. She sat up slowly, pulling the sheet with her, and heard voices in the hallway. Low, tense. Katie slipped out of bed, pulled on her clothes, and crept toward the door. Can't ignore this, boss. That was Min Jae's voice. I know. Lorenzo's voice, tight with something she couldn't name. Her phone sent a location ping to Do6 Network. The timestamp matches the night of the storm. Katie's stomach dropped. She pushed the door open. Both men turned to look at her. Lorenzo's expression was unreadable. Min Jae looked uncomfortable. What's going on? Katie asked, her voice small. Lorenzo held up a tablet. We need to talk. They moved to the small office. Katie sat across from Lorenzo, heart pounding. He showed her the screen. Data logs. Numbers. A highlighted line showing a location ping from a device registered to her name. Your phone sent a signal to Huang Do6 Network, Lorenzo said quietly. The same night we were together. Katie shook her head instantly. No, I didn't. I don't even know how to do that. I want to believe you, he said. Her heart cracked on those words. Want to? Lorenzo, look at me, she said desperately. I would never contact anyone. I don't know these people. I swear. Katie, he held up a hand. I'm not accusing you of intentionally working with them. But you think I did something, she whispered. His silence was worse than shouting. Katie stood, backing away from the desk. Oh my God, you actually think I helped them? I'm saying there was a leak, he said carefully. And the leak traces back to your device. But not to me, she said, voice breaking. Lorenzo, last night she swallowed hard. You trusted me. Feelings don't erase threats. So now I'm a threat. You're a possibility, he said quietly. Katie stumbled back like he'd slapped her. Wow. Okay. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant, she said, tears burning her eyes. This is my worst nightmare. I'm always the problem in someone's life. Always too much trouble, too complicated. And now I'm apparently a security risk to a crime family. His expression flickered with pain, but he didn't move. Last night, Katie said, voice shaking, you looked at me like I was someone you wanted, someone you cared about. I woke up thinking maybe I wasn't alone anymore. She laughed bitterly. And now you're standing there holding a file and looking at me like a liability. He didn't deny it. Katie wrapped her arms around herself. What do you want me to do? Swear on my life? Cry? I don't have proof, Lorenzo. I don't have anything but my word. I'm not asking for proof. Yes, you are, she cut in. You just won't say it. He inhaled slowly. I have to move you again. You can't stay here. Her chest caved. Move me where? Back to Seoul. Then home to Denver. Katie froze. You're sending me away. Until I understand what's happening, it's safer if you're not here. She stared at him in disbelief. You think being alone makes me safer? You won't be alone. I'll assign protection. No, she said, voice cracking. I don't want your protection. I want you to trust me. He closed the tablet. I need time. She shook her head, tears falling now. Time? We don't have time, Lorenzo. Someone is trying to kill us, and you want time. He didn't answer. Last night meant nothing to you, she whispered. It meant something, he said quietly. Too much. That's the problem. Katie felt her heart shatter. Get out. Katie, get out. For the first time since she'd met him, Lorenzo Kia obeyed someone else. He left the room slowly, closing the door behind him. Katie collapsed onto the chair, pressing her face into her hands, shaking from heartbreak, fear, and humiliation. An hour later, bags were packed. Katie walked down the stairs with silent steps. Lorenzo stood near the front door, hands clasped behind his back, looking like stone. Min Jae waited by an SUV outside. Katie walked past Lorenzo without a word. She couldn't look at him. If she did, she'd break completely. Min Jae opened the back door. We'll take you to Seoul, then arrange a flight home with 2 guards. Katie nodded, swallowing hard. She didn't look back at Lorenzo. She couldn't. The car door closed. The engine started. Lorenzo stood on the steps as the SUV rolled down the gravel driveway. His expression was unreadable, but his fists clenched at his sides. Katie watched him through the tinted window just once. Then he disappeared behind the trees. She whispered to herself, "I should have never pulled him into that pool." Min-jae drove in silence for nearly 30 minutes. Katie stared out the window, wiping tears quietly, trying to breathe. The estate vanished behind them. The mountain road stretched ahead, winding through dense forest. Then, from nowhere, tires screeched. A black van slammed into the side of the SUV. Katie screamed as the vehicle spun violently. The guard in the passenger seat shouted orders into a radio. The SUV skidded, hit a barrier, and jerked to a stop. Katie's ears rang. "Down!" the guard yelled, grabbing her shoulder and pushing her toward the floor. Bullets hit the side of the vehicle, sharp, deafening cracks. Min-jae pulled out a weapon, cursing. "How the hell? We didn't tell anyone this route." Another van blocked the road ahead. Masked men jumped out, moving with military precision. The guard fired back through the window, but a blast hit the back door. Someone yanked it open. A rough hand grabbed Katie by the arm. She screamed, kicking, clawing at the seat. "No, let me go." Min-jae reached for her. "Katie." A gun hit him across the face, knocking him back. Blood streamed from his eyebrow. The men dragged Katie out of the SUV and hauled her toward the van. "No," she cried, fighting with everything she had. One man covered her mouth with a gloved hand. "Sorry, sweetheart. Orders." She bit down hard. He cursed but didn't let go. A needle pricked her neck. Her vision blurred. The world tilted. Min-jae stumbled toward them, blood dripping down his face. "Don't touch her." The van door slammed shut in his face. The last thing Katie heard before darkness took her was Min-jae screaming her name through shattered glass. To be continued. Next time on Episode 3, The Rescue. Katie wakes in the hands of her enemies and discovers a betrayal that runs deeper than she imagined. Lorenzo must face the truth about who he trusted and launch a rescue mission that will cost him everything. In the final confrontation, Katie will make a choice that changes both their lives forever. Don't leave me hanging. Literally. Katie's been kidnapped, Lorenzo's world is crumbling, and someone they trust is playing a deadly game. Episode 3 is the finale, and it's going to blow your mind. Subscribe now so you don't miss the explosive conclusion. And drop a comment below. Who do you think sent that location ping? What would you do if you were Katie right now? Who do you think is the real traitor? Team Lorenzo or Team, he messed up big time? Also, where are you watching from? Your bed at 2 a.m.? On your commute? During your coffee break? Let me know. I love hearing from you. See you in Episode 3.